Okay, so now you get arrested. You're what, 20 years old?
19 turning 20 years old.
19 turning 20. You had a 47 count indictment.
Yeah, so we were barely in the county jail for like a couple of weeks, and they hit us with a 47 count indictment literally within like 2 weeks because they had so much information on us. And then also too, they put us through a lineup, and I guess some people pointed us out in the lineups.
Were you wearing masks during these
Yeah,
robberies?
we were wearing masks, but at the same time, in some cases, maybe somebody might have caught a glimpse of us, or even because they tell you to even talk in the lineup, they'll say something. And obviously in the middle of a robbery, you're yelling at somebody, you're shouting at somebody, they're gonna remember your voice. And so even in the lineup, they ask you to like say a few words, and that's another way people can pick you out.
Okay, so you have a 47 count indictment, and each robbery included multiple charges of burglary, assault, kidnapping, false imprisonment.
Correct.
So at that point, initially, how much time were you facing?
Well, the first deal they offered us many, many months later, because we're going to court, waiving time. The first deal they offered us was like 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, that's a deal, right?
Okay.
I was 20 years old. And it's because there were so many charges, right? And, you know, kidnap actually carries an L.
Right. I was going to say that almost sounds light.
Yeah.
If you throw kidnapping in
and
there.
False imprisonment, that's like 10 years too, right?
Yeah.
So we waived a lot of time. And by the time we actually accepted a deal, it went from like 25 down to 15. And the last one they offered me was 10 years, 4 months. And if I didn't take that, I would have to go to trial. And if I went to trial, we would have got washed.
Did you have a criminal record at all at that point?
No, I didn't.
So you had a clean record.
Never.
So that I'm sure helped you.
Yeah.
What did your co-defendants get?
So they got a little bit less time. They both got like 8 years, and it's because I took the gun charge. I had the gun. So they gave me a first-degree robbery, which was like 6 years, and then they gave me a gun charge, 4 years, 4 months, and then everything else they just ran concurrent.
Okay, sitting in jail, how did you feel? You know, did you think that you were there because your dad essentially snitched on you?
I think looking back on it, yeah, I kind of put the blame on my dad, but obviously I was the one going out doing crazy stuff. You know what I mean? So, I was still very young, 19, 20 years old. The county jail in San Francisco was, there's a lot of action going on with, getting in fights and doing stuff. So not really spending a lot of time reflecting on, whose fault it was, but just bottom line, I had to make the best of where I was at now.
Okay, so you're in county jail awaiting, to either plead or go to trial. Now you go in completely unaffiliated.
Correct.
Right? Although you grew up in Northern California and you get to jail and there's a bunch of Norteños.
Correct.
How did you become part of that?
It's just kind of like a rite of passage. I mean, the way you look at it, right? It's like they got the blacks, they got the whites, they got the others. And then they have the Mexicans and the Border Brothers, right? But the Mexicans could be like the Norteños, right? So literally, if you're not a Border Brother and you're, Chicano or Puerto Rican or whatever.
Sorry, what is a Border Brother?
Basically like somebody from Mexico, born in they call them, back in those days, they used to call them Border Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Where they were from Mexico. So a lot of them back in those days didn't speak any Spanish. But in those days, that's when they were all selling dope in the Tenderloin back in those years, right?
Got it.
So there was a lot of Border Brothers in the county jail during those years because there's a lot of dope going through the city during those years, and they're all getting busted in there in the county jail.
Okay, so you're around all these various Mexicans in the county jail. What led up to you actually joining?
I mean, I'm looking for the people that kind of speak English like me, that look like me, because the Border Brothers, obviously, they're from Mexico. So, I'm looking for the guys, I kind of gravitate to the guys that look like me, talk like me. And, some of these guys already been to prison, and then they start schooling me down a little bit about like, this is how it is in here, So that's how that came to.
Okay, so you jumped in?
No, not in the county jail. It's just, you kind of like a rite of passage. You just start kind of hanging out with them.